Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
This is what I tell them. I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. How to code, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles. Go take care of your business. Success Chronicles. It's deeper than just winning. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with another episode of the Success Chronicles. Truly excited to have my guy, Jared Hunt, on with us today. Great man, doing some great things. And so I'm excited to share his journey. So first off, Hunt, man, thank you so much for taking the time to interview with the Success Chronicles.
Man, this is a fun time to do, man. I've been watching a lot of them.
Yeah.
And so it's good to be on here and kind of share my little piece of what old Jared Hunt has to do.
That's good, man. Well, I just want to say, thank you so much for the support over the years, man. Truly appreciative. Thank you so much for how you do what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Been an avid supporter of yours, been following you, checking you out, rooting for you from afar, man. I'm just so grateful to have you on, and so thankful that the big man has allowed us to connect. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's dive into it, man. So if you don't mind sharing with the audience, a little bit about who you are and your journey, so they have an idea.
Yeah, I was a high school coach for many years.
Mm-hmm.
Started off at Bruce Folletti, did that for 3 years, and I wanted to move up. I had two goals. I really wanted to, number one, if I had the opportunity to go back home and be the big man on campus, the AD, head football coach, when it was tied together, I really wanted to do that. And then the other was to be at the college level. That's a passion that a lot of coaches have to work towards, and it's a very hard thing to do. It really is. And so I jumped down to Oak Ridge, stepped out of my comfort zone, and left Central Texas and went to Houston. And man, I had the opportunity to work for an amazing man, Derek Rush. Coach Rush taught me. He taught me a lot about how to lead and do things. He's a quiet leader. He tells you kind of on the front end of how to do things, and so, but his structure kind of set me in place of how to structure stuff. Do it on the front end, so you ain't got to do it on the back end. And so, Coach Rush was always making sure your drills were set up. He was making sure you're bringing it every day. Your energy level was high and all that stuff. And so, I got that opportunity, and then I followed he was our offense coordinator, Will Compton. Comp came over here to Rudder, and I followed him the year after that to be his defense coordinator, and I was down here for a year. And then another friend of mine got another job. You know how it works in the coaching world. And so Sean Bell got the job at Cedar Ridge in Round Rock. And so I followed Sean down there, and we had a very successful year that year. And then his phone rings, and he goes to Baylor to coach at Baylor. And then weird enough, 2 weeks kind of later that he told us, my phone rings, and Chad Morris is offering me a spot at SMU. And so dream number one, boom, happens.
Come on.
Jump to SMU. 6 months later, we win there, and he gets the job at Arkansas, and I'm fortunate enough to join him to go to Arkansas as a recruiting coordinator, and I kind of handled high school relations in Texas, helped in Louisiana, and then Coach Allen, he was a legendary Arkansas guy, so he handled Arkansas. I just helped host them when they got to campus. But, during all that process of the moving, we had a unexpected death in our family. My sister-in-law passed away, and being 9 hours from family was hard. It was tough. And so my wife and I decided to go back home. We're high school sweethearts, so we're both from Academy. And I went back home, and, kind of one of those moments where, okay, let's put family first and see where it takes us. And I was an assistant football coach and a head girls track coach when I left Arkansas. So going from the SEC of that and just go, hey, I just want to go coach, and I teach special ed as well, and so I just wanted to slow down and go back and say, okay, well, let's get everything figured out and see where we're going to go from here. And the AD job opens up at Academy, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna apply for it, get it, and I've been doing it for 5 years, and so bam, dream number 2 happened. Get to lead a program of that changed my life as a player. You know how it is. You know, a lot of us teach and coach because somebody impacted us and somebody changed our lives, and so now we get that opportunity, and it's part of my vision at that campus now. You know, we have a bunch of visions, but one of them is to have a great high school and middle school experience. That's on our vision list for our kids because that's what it's all about, is having a good experience. Well, it brought me back home. You know, I love that place. I love everything about it. The opportunities it provides to kids and us growing is making it even better. So, really fast forwarding through all that, there's a lot there for that, but that's my path. And that's, you know, I love telling that story because there's a lot of people that get job opportunities as coaches. Our phone rings all the time, everybody in the state of Texas. You know, don't jump at every one. Make sure your family's right. My wife's my agent. I say that all the time. You know, she's going to make the final decision on that, and I'll present her the opportunities that are presented, and we'll talk through them, and we'll go. But you know, make sure number one, everything's right for your family, and if it's not, pick something that's going to make everything better, and
you make it right.
And that's what we did, and that was a tough conversation. At Arkansas, when I told her, hey, what about going back? Because she knows my dream. She knew where I wanted to be. And she's like, this is what we do. And I'm going to be honest with you. At first, she was against it. She wanted to stay and do it and push through it. Because, you know, when deaths happen, there's 3 things they tell you not to do: change jobs, move, or have a kid or something crazy like that. I did 2 of them. And so, but it ended up being good. It ended up being really good for us and good for our family. And so we're in a really good place right now.
That's awesome, man. Just lots of things come up to me in my mind and my heart as I heard you talk about your journey. I think the first thing that came up for me is quality relationships.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about, you know, the phone rang, you know, somebody looked out, you know, I knew this guy, you know, I knew this. Work with this person, then went with, you know, quality relationships are key, man. Talk to us a little bit about that.
You know, it's very, if I'm going to encourage young coaches, if there's anybody listening that's young, that's getting in this business, make sure you network and make sure you network the right way. The right way is to build relationships with them. You know, once you get somebody's number or you start talking to somebody that's, you know, maybe a head coach or an AD somewhere, and that's somewhere you want to go. Don't always talk to them about jobs. You know, you just build a personal relationship with them. Ask them how they're doing, encourage them, send them an encouraging message. I'm lucky. I'm on several group messages from people I've worked with over the years that send encouraging messages out. You know, every Sunday morning I get one from Big Guy Compton that sends it out, and it's a very encouraging thing that I read every time. But make sure that where it's really be where your feet are.
Come on,
is the biggest thing. And so don't be looking for the next job. I never looked for the next job, and I tell people that all the time. There's a lot of places that I didn't really apply. My phone rang, and so that's the biggest thing. Is you know, it's not about, everybody says it's about who you know. You know, jobs are about who you know. I say no to that.
It's about who knows you.
It's about who knows you. Because at the end of the day, I didn't apply for Cedar Ridge. My phone rang. I didn't apply for SMU. The dream job that I had, I didn't apply for. My phone rang and asked if I'd be interested. Now, it was because of relationships I built with some staff members and some stuff like that my name even came up. But it's make sure that you do the best job you can at the place you're at, and people will recognize that you love what you're doing, that you love the place you're at, the kids you know. You know, some of my fondest memory, and I've got a lot of good relationships with former players, but man, the groups that we had at Oak Ridge and the time that I spent there, and I was scared to move down there. I mean, I was scared to move out of my comfort zone, out of Central Texas, you know, to the Conroe Woodlands area,
Yeah.
and they weren't winning when we got there. I mean, that was something we took over and did, and years later, I had the opportunity to. I mean, I got certified and married one of our former players and his high school sweetheart, and got to officiate the wedding. And
Yeah.
and the relationships you build there, and I think that goes a long way with when your phone does ring and why your phone rings. It's because I think they see what you're investing in people and investing in other people, and um, that's the main thing for me is be where your feet are and make sure you're doing the best job you can at the place you're at, and opportunities will come. They always do.
I say it like this: opportunities bring opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the same. It's the same, just like you said too. Like every time you said, I didn't apply, my phone ring. Opportunity,
Yep.
but those opportunities don't come if you haven't put in the work and built those relationships
Mm-hmm.
and done the things that you were supposed to do and be where your feet were planted at the moment, and not worrying about, oh, I'm doing this because later I'm gonna do this.
Yep.
Of course, have goals and all of those things,
Mm-hmm.
but like, man, be all in
Yeah.
where you at.
And that's ultimately, I think, why. I mean, I built a good relationship, and to break it down, how the SMU one even happened
Yeah.
is, it was early on. Not very many people were doing it. DJ Mann was doing it. Chad Johnson, who's got his opportunity now, doing it. He was doing it at Spring and places as being a high school recruiting coordinator back in 2014-13 time frame.
Nobody was doing it.
Nobody was really doing it, and
Yeah.
I spent more time outside of my school day preparing these folders for kids and these packets and these cards. And I wish they had the easy access of internet nowadays that we had even at that time. But I built relationships with Justin Stepp, who was who was a receivers coach recruiting our area, and we didn't really have anybody there interested. But every time he came by, man, I was saying, hey, you need to go to that school over there.
Yep.
They got kids. This is the coach to call.
He had a good time.
I know what you're looking for, and
Yep.
so you take care of those people.
Yep.
I wasn't doing it because I wanted to work with him. I didn't do it because I just did it because I
That's what
cared
you do.
about what I was doing,
That's what you do.
and I was invested in it, and I had information to give that could help someone else. Them winning at SMU at that time when I was working at Oak Ridge meant nothing to me. It didn't.
Right.
I cared about them, but I'm an Aggie. I mean, I grew up at A&M, and so it's one of those things. It's just that's the biggest thing that I would say is be where your feet are. Don't be afraid to go up and talk to people. That's the hardest thing to do at clinics and stuff is to go talk to somebody you don't know, or you think they're on this pedestal, or you think they're like, if they're a Division I coach walking around. Go up and talk to them. Introduce yourself.
Let's kind of pause on that because that's a gem right there.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure that you hear that. You got to network. If you see people in big places, man, don't be afraid to go and introduce yourself and talk to them because you never know what will come from that.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know what they're going to need one day. And again, man, who's that guy that talked to us at one time?
Yep.
And that's how the conversations happen.
Yep. And I got some great relationships with guys that are, big time college guys now, and similar. Like when they came to recruit, man, we always had a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Showed them some love, helped them out, same thing. And it's not just about us; it's about helping you get kids.
Yep, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
But it's helping kids. I mean, that's what we got in this business for, and that's what I'll always believe. That's why I love the recruiting process so much, and loved everything about it, and wanting to provide an opportunity for a kid. Is it's we got in this to change lives. We got in this to do things to make kids' lives,
yes, sir,
not necessarily better, but more enjoyable at the time that we have them. I mean, we have them they're teenagers, they're growing, they're experiencing things for the first time. You've got to really make sure that you're investing in them and showing them the right paths and things. But also, if you have the chance to provide that opportunity, I mean, there's kids. I mean, we've dealt with kids. I mean, if you give them an opportunity to go to the college level to continue their education, you not only change their life, but you change the path of their
generational.
I mean, that's the biggest thing for me is
generational impact.
Is how do we impact, not in getting them those opportunities. It didn't give me anything. I mean, I didn't get get a stipend check for that. I didn't get anything like that. That's not what it's about. And I think that's where some of our mindset sometimes gets clogged up is, if I do this, am I going to get paid to do that? That wasn't part of my job duties. That was something I volunteered to do and said, I want this and I want to do this and provide that opportunity.
Yeah.
Because why not? Why not?
I love it. Well, what are 3 things you've accomplished in your life that you're proud of?
Well, if you would have asked me this 8 years ago, 10 years ago, when I was first starting out in the middle of all the, in the middle of the push, trying to establish my career, I probably would have told you different things that probably would be that are currently sitting on my mantle or on a bookshelf. I've been a state champion as a player. I've been to, some of our teams have been to the state semifinals in the state. We have medals in the office. We have banners around us. We've had some top finishes in the Lone Star Cup. I mean, we've had some really cool things happen to us currently that I could sit there and say those are 3 things that accomplishing that really impacted my life. But number one, I'll always say it, and I'll say it always, is my faith.
Yeah.
That's a daily process. That's a daily thing, minute by minute. I'm proud of it because that's one of those things you have to work on daily. And that's one of those things you have to continue to work on and work on with those around you. Number 2, for me is, and that's nothing out. Number 1, faith. I mean, that's not something I've accomplished. That's something I'm always working on.
Right.
But it's something that, for me, the daily wins, those are accomplishments. Those daily, with social media and all the things around us and around our kids, that's something you've always got to sit there and battle and win. And so even one daily win of that is bigger than any bowl ring I have or championship ring that I have. And so number 2 for me is family. That's my wife, she handles so much for our family and has sacrificed so much for me to do the things that I love to do. The agent. But she's also a heck of an elementary teacher. I mean, she puts in a lot of work herself. I mean, she got Teacher of the Year this last year at the school, and it comes from a lot of hard work and dedication. And what people don't understand is she's doing that a lot of the times raising 2 girls because I'm at an event. I mean, Monday through Friday, possibly Saturday, I'm gone because I like to be at events and be present for things. And so, I said family, it's my wife and my 2 kids. I mean, those are accomplishments that no one can ever take away. That, again, no medal, no ring, no nothing can do. And then third for me, it's the things that I've been able to accomplish in my career. Those 2 goals that we talked about earlier. The second one being the AD at Academy now. It came at me at a time that I didn't know I needed it.
That's good right there.
You walk into Fayetteville, Arkansas, and you're walking around with the logo, the SEC logo. You're doing things that you love to do. You're interacting with some coaches that are top notch at what they do. You're recruiting kids around the country that just it fit everything you needed for me.
Yeah.
I wanted to get to the college level, and when you get that opportunity, it's, man, this is it. Let's go.
Yeah.
And then when life hits you and you sit back and it's like, okay. And I read a book, and I've shared this with you before, Lead for God's Sake, for Todd Gong, where I was reading that book at the time when all this happened. And he talks about purpose and passion and make sure that your passion doesn't outweigh your purpose. And so my purpose in life has always been to help kids and to help people get to where they need to get, teaching and doing. Yeah. And I was still doing that. But I was really letting some of my passion outweigh some of that, even the family time. I mean, 24/7, when you're at that level, it's a lot. And man, I respect every college coach there is, especially nowadays with the NIL and the transfer. You got to recruit your own kids,
Yeah.
and so it's one of those things for me. It's you know, I needed to make sure that my family was right, and so going back home and being able to be the athletic director at Academy, man, it's
Nothing
been
better than that, man.
it's been nothing but great, nothing but great.
That's awesome. Well, just hearing you talk about your journey, hearing you talk about the things that you're proud of, I would consider that to be hugely successful and influential and impactful. All of those things.
Yep.
But let's hit on success. What is your definition of success?
For me, it's accomplishing things that you set in front of you. I mean, that to me is one of those things. It's accomplishing things not that you set, but that are set in front of you. But it's accomplishing them doesn't mean you won. It doesn't mean that you've won the district championship, that you've won this, or that you've beat this team, or you've done that. I've probably had more learning and more impact to myself, and I've seen more impact in kids in some of the losses.
Yeah.
And learning from those things and things like that. And so success isn't always about wins. It's about the learning of it. And I think we kick that out the window sometimes. I think we forget that that's why we do what we do, is to teach.
Yeah.
And so it's some of those daily wins, those daily, teachable moments that people forget. I like to give the example with when a kid can't read, what do? We teach them to read. They can't do math, teach them to do math. We teach them to multiply, divide, do fractions. We teach them all those things. So when a kid makes a mistake or does something wrong, we always like to punish. Why aren't we teaching? Why aren't we going back to that? And so is that success when a kid makes a mistake? Is that classified as success? Well, probably not. But it is if we teach them and they don't do it again. And so for me, it's identifying what's important. It's identifying how to teach them, how to move forward with it. And so, but it is also, I mean, we fight for championships. I mean, that's what we do. I mean, that's our staff knows that, our kids know that. It's we're going for the wins. And so there are levels of success. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are levels of that. But for me, it's how do we learn from every opportunity that we are given? And so, scoreboards are scoreboards. How do we learn from it? Some of our challenging years that we've had, even in Academy, wins and losses, I think are some of our most successful as well, just as the ones that when we went to the state semifinals.
Yeah.
And so, because that was years prior to that, and some of those younger kids learned from those and didn't make the same mistakes. And so I don't know, success is one of those, and I'm glad you always touch on it, and I'm glad I always listen and read to other people's responses, because everybody's going to have a different one.
Yes.
And that's the great thing about it, and that's how you learn. That's how you figure some things out. I've heard people identified as, it's set this goal and accomplish that goal. That's my success.
Yep.
But if you look at my journey of going to my goal of being in college level, but even at not just a college level, but being at the top of the college level, and what, the conference and what you wanted to do, I had no idea I'd get there. I mean, let's be real. But then I take the step and go do what I did, to being a head girls track coach and a coordinator. To some people, that might be a failure, a step back, a step down. But But within that move, my three things that I'm most proud of, faith,
from that,
family, it all came from that.
yeah,
It all came from that opportunity of making sure we're right and making sure things are good. And um, that's my level of success. It's personal. It's a personal thing. My level of success is different than your level of success.
yeah.
And I'm not going to judge another man's success either. And so I never had to explain that. Someone asked me that one time about, have you ever had to explain why you went from the SEC to 3A public school in Central
That's
Texas?
nobody's business, but mine and my family.
And it wasn't. I like to share the story though, because there's a lot of people that do get to a point that you have your career and you have things going on over here and they're tugging at each other and which one's more important.
Yeah.
And at that time, my family is way more important than some career.
Priorities.
And so, yeah, I did this.
Yeah.
But I think even in the midst of doing this, I mean, I've invested more in the Coaches Association, the AD Association. I communicate with a lot of the guys in the UIL, trying to figure out more learn policy, and I found a new passion of how to work that and how to help, the fight against public education. And serving on committees of that nature. And so, never thought I would do that. I mean, I'm the furthest person from liking politics. But then when you start impacting and things start attacking public education, that piques my interest because you're talking about the kids that we care about, and the kids that we want to make sure that we're providing the right opportunities for. And so, my level of what I want to do changed based on back to my purpose, which is being a teacher, coach, and impacting kids.
Yeah. Well, lot of great success, you've had personally, a lot of great success you guys are having in your program.
Yep.
You talked about your definition of success. How is that applied, in your title, what you do, and there in your district?
Yeah. So we have what we call as the Bumblebee Way. It's our core principles. It's our mission statement, our vision, and our core principles. And within that, I mean, our mission statement is real simple. It's what a lot of people's are: is to prepare kids for success on and off the court for the rest of their lives. That's our mission statement. Not to win games, not to do that. Now, within that, we have visions. Now, and in that vision, we have, to graduate. Number one, I want every kid that's in our program to graduate from high school. Some people see that as easy. Some people don't understand what kids are going through personally. That have nothing to do with them just passing a class. It's making sure they're at school or can get to school and all those things that come on with that. And graduation is very important to us. The high school and middle school experience is very important to us, making sure that they love what they're doing and they feel safe.
Yes.
That they feel like they have people they can communicate with and talk to when things aren't going right for them, and making sure our coaches are available for that. But then it goes into our core principles and how it goes with the success. Accountability is big on ours. That's one of our words. Mental and physical toughness, teaching kids to fight adversity, to how they handle adversity, really. That's kind of our definition of mental toughness is adversity is going to strike and how you're going to handle it, and teaching them how to handle it. But it's not just how tough they are in a mat room or in a weight room or anything like that. It's are we building them?
Are we
teaching them for opportunity or for things that are going to come up in their lives? Integrity is one of our words, but you sit there and go through some of our words. The energy and work ethic, which effort. Everybody's got that one. My favorite that we do, and we teach them by days, is on Fridays. Mental and physical. It's confidence, belief, and faith. And so we teach that on Fridays. And so what we try to teach our kids is for us with faith is everybody that knows me and has been around me, I'm a very positive person. I like to think positively. Does it come out negative sometimes? Does negativity come out? Well, yeah. But being positive is very important to me, and it's very important to for me to make sure our coaches are positive with kids.
Yeah.
Because the way we teach faith is, and you've heard the definition before, it's two outcomes that hadn't happened yet, you know, and
fear.
And are you positive or negative? If you're negative, you said it, it's fear.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to have faith in it. I want them to trust what we're doing, that every practice we do, every lift we do, every character development we do, every little thing that we do
It's important, y'all.
is important, but it's preparing you to be successful.
Yeah.
So trusting in the process is another way of teaching it. But but faith is very important. And again, we provide those opportunities as well. We have the SCA big. Coach Montalvo does it in our district, and he does a fabulous job with that.
Yep. Great guy.
And we're getting to a point now where you start to see the kids believing in things and trusting in what we do. And we changed. I've been there 5 years, and we abruptly changed how we do strength and conditioning. Kind of threw the word conditioning out. And we're doing a lot of speed work. We're doing some things in the weight room that are a little different than what they're used to. And, that's going to pose questions to kids like, hey, why are we changing it to like this? They're seeing the results. We provide the data for them. We do some things like that. But, confidence, belief, and faith is a very core principle in what we do in Academy, and it's turned out to be very successful for us because it's just teaching that positive mindset. That don't think about the negative. Is it going to happen? Probably, but think positive. Think positive about your teammates.
Yep.
Trust in your teammates and your coaching. You could change that word to trust. I mean, you could change that core principle day to trust if you wanted to, because you could put all of them under trust.
Yeah.
But having confidence in themselves, self-confidence is huge for kids. It's huge for adults.
Yes.
But having belief in something bigger than yourself, I mean, that's what teams are. I mean, that's what a lot of that's boiled down to, is believing in everybody around you and believing in things that you can't accomplish by yourself, that you need others to help, whether that's a teammate or a coach. And so those are two big areas for us.
That's awesome. Well, as we close, I'd love for you to get an opportunity to share with the audience where they can go follow you, check you out, and show you some love with all the amazing things you got going on.
The best way to do is to follow on Twitter. I think it's @coach_J Hunt. But we share a lot of things on social media with our school district. We're not secretive about our core principles, what I talked about, the Bumblebee Way. We put it out there. It's on our website, our school website. But the best way to do is to follow them on Twitter. Send me a message, and I'll send you every bit of things I can help from being a high school recruiting person or building resumes. I mean, now that I'm an AD and helping people, hiring people and being in that position, I mean, I don't mind helping how to even approach that conversation. So just follow me there, and anything I can do to help, I'm here for it.
It's awesome, man. Well, again, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to interview with the Success Chronicles. Truly appreciate it, and I wish you continued success.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. And thank you guys for checking out this episode. We'll see you next time. God bless.
Go get it.